to take it into your realm, if there is some new equipment that you may need.
Thank you. Yes.
Or that you may want, maybe not a necessity, but yours is getting a little worn, you start putting money aside in this accumulated funds account.
Yes.
And then when you get that much money in there that you can actually go buy it, it's like, yay!
Yeah. Understanding your cash flow is one of the most important things that you can do as an independent contractor. In my industry and in my field for 17 years, I had to learn the hard way. And one of the things that I did was sit down with a specialist. That person for me was Bobby Grant. And today we're going to talk about 10 budgeting tips for independent contractors. All right, we're sitting here with Bobby Grant, budgeting, bookkeeping specialist, 10 budgeting tips for independent contractors. We're at tip number 7, and we are talking about budgets, the idea of living by a budget.
Yes.
Scary, but why is it important?
Because it gives you freedom.
That doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. I'm thinking a budget is what I can and can't spend. It sounds confined. You know, I'm confined. I'm put into a box. I'm not free. I'm not free to just buy whatever I want to buy.
But you are, and that's where people think a budget is so constraining. Is that a word? That it gives you the freedom. It gives you the freedom to not worry about your money. You're telling your money where it's going to go. You're not your money telling you where it's gone. So when you live off a budget, you've got a plan. You've implemented the plan. You've set that money aside for whatever expenses you have or your goals that you set. And now you have the freedom to pick and choose which projects you want to work on. Be able to take that day off to spend with the family because you know your bills are paid. You're living on that budget and you've budgeted enough money to take your kids to Busch Gardens for the day.
So I don't have to constantly look for that next job or think about, man, my next month, there's nothing there. I need to start hurrying up and feeling anxious and worried. So you're telling me that a budget will allow me to not have those feelings?
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, you have to identify your spending habits, which we talked about, right? And look at your goals. What are you striving for? And so taking everything into account, you're going to go through your spending habits, see where your money goes, and decide, is this where I really want all my hard-earned money to go? Or do I need to reevaluate and put it in other places?
Okay, but then I guess what would you suggest using something like Excel and understanding, okay, I need money for gas, I need money for food, this is my rent or mortgage, this is my insurance costs. Like I'm visualizing, I'm a visual person, right? So I'm thinking columns. Okay, I need money for this, 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 and then writing out those amounts or typing in those amounts all the way across, and then adding all of that up, and then that's how much I need for the month.
And the geek in me has a color-coded Excel spreadsheet, but you don't even have to be to that extent. A pad, a legal pad, and a pencil, because you're going to have to erase and you're going to have to. Things don't flow smoothly from day one. It takes a while to get this budget flowing to where it actually works.
Right.
So you can't go in thinking, "Oh, yay!"
I remember having a conversation with you, and that was the simplest question that you asked me. Well, what are you spending your money on? And I just didn't know. I didn't even know how to wrap my brain around that. And I remember that conversation. I remember where I was sitting in my house, and I remember that feeling of just not knowing and not understanding what you're asking me or how to get the information that you're asking me, how to structure it, I didn't know where to start. I had no idea where to start. And you were just calm. You were very calm and began to tell me the steps, like pulling out my bank statement and just separating the charges. It's something so simple, categorizing. And that was a big step. That was a big thing, especially for me to reflect on that time in those moments and to think about where I am now, especially to be at a more comfortable place in my life and planning and to a point where I'm actually looking to help other people to understand what we've been doing
Right.
and how we've been working together. I mean, it may seem so small, but it was such a big deal in the forward progression of my life. And now that's something that I can teach my kids
Right.
too. You know.
And I just had a thought. When you have a job coming up, you know what that job is going to entail, and you know what equipment, what cables you need.
Mm-hmm.
You plan, right?
Oh yeah, I plan.
You have a list. You know
I have
how
my
many.
notebook.
Right. So that's your budget. You think about that. You've got bills that are coming up. You've got money coming in. So now you need to figure out which ones you're going to pay and when. Just like when you plan to go on these jobs, you pack according to what you need to have on that job. Well, your budget's the same way. You get to the job, you know you have everything, you unpack your bins, you're set. You don't have to worry about everything because you've got it all there. You've done your homework ahead of time. Same thing with your budget. Do your homework ahead of time, get your money where it needs to go, and then freedom.
And on top of that, and we keep going back to the per diem.
Yeah.
We keep going back to the per diem,
right.
right? So now, if you have extra money, right, we can roll that money over into maybe paying more toward a bill, paying more toward the emergency fund, which we'll talk about later, or getting out of debt. But that debt or having that extra, you can see your extra and identify your extra by living by a budget.
Right. And you can tell it where you're going to spend it.
Right.
It's not going to tell you where it's going.
Nice.
We're all on this journey together, just at different places. And our desire and our mission at Clemco AV is to help you to project the best image possible. Like these videos, subscribe to these videos, and you will be informed whenever we put something new out. Thanks again.